Yo. Welcome to episode 2 of Swords and Cannons podcast. This is your host, Big Slim. I'm back at it. As you can see, made some improvements to the podcast, but back to give you guys some good info and some good content about everything that's going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers during this preseason. If you're listening, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up all the good content I'm going to be putting out over the season. Definitely getting back into the swings of things. But let's jump right into it. So this episode right here, man, I'm going to talk about the recent signing of Carl Nassib. And I know a lot of fans and it's been a lot of, talk about bringing Carl Nassib back and everything like that, which I like. I always loved him when he did play for us. Just a quick history of when he was with us. He came in 2018 from Cleveland. We signed him up in free agency, man. He did real good for us. He wasn't a starter, but he was a good rotational player. Definitely one of those anchors into us switching defenses and getting more into the 3-4 and more into just basically utilizing more of the DNs as far as using them as a outside linebacker or basically using him with his hand in the dirt. But in 2018, he was used as a left side DN. Let's see. Yep, left side DN. In 2018, we still had Mike Smith as our defensive coordinator, so we're still running that 4-3. He came in on the left side, on the other side of Will Golston. He did really good. He didn't start, but he did come in. He gave us 6 sacks out of 14 games played. And next year in 2019, that's when we switched to the 3-4 on the Todd Bowles, and he did really good playing as a DN and a left outside linebacker. On the other side of JPP, he didn't start, but he also played in 8 games and gave us 6 sacks as well. So 6.5 in 2018 and 6 sacks in 2019 shows that he can really produce in this system. He really knows the defense. He's really good with working with the players we do have. So it was a really good, situation to bring him back. I think the continuity is still there. He did so well that he was able to parlay that into a free agent signing with the Raiders. And let's go into that because a lot of players were like, well, he didn't do good with the Raiders or whatnot, but at the same time, you got to think about it, man. The Raiders, they drafted Cleveland Farrell 4th overall, 1 pick before Devin White gladly. But they already had a guy out there that they was going to start and kind of see can they groom up to be that number 1 guy, but he never worked out. He hasn't worked out. I mean, the book is still out, but he's really, on the lines of being a bust. So when you bring Carl Nassib out there, Carl Nassib was brung out to basically be the man on the opposite side of Cleveland Farrell. But one thing happened that a person named Max Crosby came about and really started playing well, which was also a homegrown talent they drafted as well. So when people be thinking, well, Carl Nassib, he couldn't go out there and get a starting position where Carl Nassib was fighting uphill. He wasn't going to outbeat their number 1 overall draft pick in the spot. That wasn't going to happen, regardless if he was better or not. But then when you have a guy like Max Crosby, who I think is better than Carl Nassib, that's why Carl Nassib didn't start. He was very, 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 still, as I would use it, in the Raiders. He didn't start. He started 5 games when he first got there in 2020. He didn't do anything. He only got 2.5 sacks. In 2021, he didn't start any games. And only got 1.5 sacks. So he didn't really do much at the Raiders, but I really feel like it wasn't a lack of talent. I think half of it was talent-wise because I think Max Crosby is a very good DN. I don't think Carl Nassib can outbeat Carl Nassib as a starter. But I could say that Carl Nassib maybe could have had a chance to start if it wasn't the situation with having Cleveland Farrell as the number 4 overall pick, the number 1 draft pick, basically the first-round draft pick for the Raiders. I think a lot of that worked against him. So he couldn't really shine like he wanted to. But now he came back, and I'm glad he's back. Like I said, he was a very solid player for us, playing mainly the whole season, 14 games apiece while he was here. He played 15 games in 2018, 14 games in 2019. So we know that he can come out and play. He can produce and give us what we're looking for. So I'm glad to have him. But the topic that was going on when we signed him was like, okay, why didn't we bring back JPP? And the reason why I feel like we didn't bring back JPP was because of one thing about it. Carl Nassib is more healthier. He's proven that he can stay healthy throughout his career. He's only into his 7th year. This would be his 7th year playing. So you take a guy like JPP who's been in the league, for a while, that has dealt with a string of injuries, serious injuries at that. You could bring back JPP. I think if something else happens with one of our linebackers, say Carl Nassib get hurt again, or maybe JTS get hurt, I think we give JPP that call then. But this is really the time to let these young guys shine and let these young guys really be able to contribute as they were drafted for. You know, you got to think about it. Carl Nassib, he was just drafted in 2016. You know, when you got a guy like JPP that's really been around longer than that, and rightfully so, he's done good for us. Even when he was fighting those injuries, he still was productive for us. But you know, JPP been in the league 6 years longer than Carl Nassib. And when you take a look at JPP, he's always been very productive for us. You know, when he got here in 2018, he got here in 2018, had 12 and a half sacks. The next year had 8.5. The next year after that, he had 9.5 sacks. And in 2019, that was the year he had 8.5. That was the year he broke his neck in the car accident, and he still came back half the season, still gave us 8.5 sacks in 10 games he played. So that's still really good. The last year he was with us, he just really was dealing with that labrum injury. You could tell he was just a shut up himself. He wasn't fast. He wasn't, being who we used to as far as knowing what JPP can do. He only gave us 2.5 sacks, and that was his last year's contract. So we kind of knew it was time to move on, even with Sue. It's like, okay, we ran our course with you guys. We got a Super Bowl as you guys, but we drafting you guys replacements as you play, and we got to get these guys on the field. So with JPP, I love him. I like him. I think he really just have to focus on staying healthy, getting healthy, not really just putting on the pads and banging himself around through training camp and preseason. Really just take it slow, get yourself fully healthy, and keep that phone open. I'm pretty sure we'll give him a call if we need to. I'm pretty sure teams have reached out to him. But I think with JPP, it was just really issue with his injuries and age. He'll be 33 this year. So you got to think about it. When you got a guy like JPP versus a guy like Carl Nassib, he'll be 29 this year. So you got a good age difference. A lot more potential. I think the ceiling is more higher for Carl Nassib to perform in this system than what JPP can offer. We know what JPP can do, but then again, it's not helping us to get younger and build more depth for the long haul. I can see Carl Nassib hanging around for the next 3-4 years, depending on what he do this season. I don't think Carl Nassib is a one-and-done type of guy. I think he gets back in his system. He get back somewhere where he's familiar. He's already played under Todd Bowles and had a great year under him. He knows the defense. He knows how to move around. He can be versatile. He can also use them on both ends. So I think Carl Nassib is one of those players that he definitely fits the mold. We're glad to have him back in the fold. It's just one of those good signs that I didn't really see was coming, but at the end of the day, it's one of those things that we definitely can use. We definitely can help with that depth. Unfortunately, with the injury of Cam Gill, which I'm kind of liking, he's kind of like another Shaq Barrett to me. Kind of one of those undersized type of outside linebackers, but he just know how to get to the quarterback. I think Cam Gill, like 6'2", 6'3". He's not no 6'5" type of guy, but for some reason, he knows how to get to the quarterback. He had a foot injury, a Liz Frank injury, so he's technically out for the season. So that's why Carl Nassib ends up in Tampa Bay. But this is why I always pick Nassib over JPP, and we had to sign someone back just for those reasons. Another reason is the locker room effect. I think when you had JPP and Sue here, those the big vets. And when you got a young defense, really a young team, outside of Mike Evans, Brady, Jensen, Ghost, and a couple more guys, it's really a young team, a very young team. And when you think about their defense, the core of their defense is young. The heart of their defense is young. The only person that's really tenured that's on their defense, two people, is William Golston and Levante David. And neither are really those outspoken leaders. Golston is kind of quiet. David is kind of quiet. But the core of the defense is really behind Devin White, who is very outspoken. He's really the pit bull of the whole defense. So when you want to build your team around that, you got to keep that youth in. You don't want big grizzly vets coming in overriding someone like that you're starting to want to build that culture and build that identity for years to come behind a person like Devin White. So I think the locker room effect of not bringing back JPP and Sue or vice versa, or in other words, letting them go, was to give them young guys a chance to really take control of the team, take control of the defense, give them the opportunity to create their own identity. And you don't want a guy that's 34 years old still, making the young guys do push-ups whenever he asks for them, like, treating them like rookies and stuff like that. And, they have the first dibs on a lot of things and stuff like that. They pull their weight and they pull their vet card, rightfully so, but it's just time to really let the young guys who we drafting and who we believe in get their shot. Like JTS, it's time for him to get their shot. Devin White is really his team. We're watching how the baton is going to get passed from David to White when it all said and done. It's time to let these guys get it. So for far as the locker room effect, I think he was a plus to bring back Carl Nassib, who isn't one of those alpha dogs in the locker room, that really try to controlled a lot of stuff, especially on the defensive side of the ball, where defense is really all about personality and about, how people play behind each other, the leaders and everything like that. Devin White is one of our young leaders. He's outspoken. He's clearly showed that he's ready to be that middle piece to the entire defense, and let's give it to him. When you got a guy like Vita Vea that's playing on defensive line who has a personality as well, and you have a guy like Sue next to him that's really, calling him big girl and stuff like that. You got to think about it, man. These guys was the guys at their college, and they come in the league, and granted, you give them that 1 year, that rookie year, that first year to kind of understand, the ins and outs of being on a professional team around other vets, but at some time you gotta let them guys really personalities grow and be who they are for the team they're playing on as well. That's one of the reasons why we drafted guys like that, because they was leaders on their college team as well. So we're expecting for them to transition and do that in the league as well. And then, like I say, as far as JPP, I definitely believe that if anything else happened, we've been having an injury bug throughout the preseason. If anything else happened, I'm pretty sure we'll give him a call. Sue as well. If we have a injury on the defensive line, I think we give Sue a call. We'll shop around, kick the tires. We know they can come back and play for us, but it's about giving these young guys a chance to make the roster, man, and really give the guys that we drafted an opportunity to grow and develop in a starting role, not just really come behind vets and getting a little piece of the action whenever they can. Really giving them the whole thing and see what they really can do, because at the end of the day, JPP is in the future. Sue is in the future. You got guys like Vita Vea, he's the future. JTS is the future. Devin White is the future. You have those guys, even though we brought in Hicks, but Hicks is a stopgap for the next defensive tackle or defensive lineman we'll draft. So it's just one of those things where you have to be mindful of what's really going on beside the player. Like what's good for the team, what's good for the locker room, what's good for the younger players. Carl Nassib is going to come in and be an excellent role player. Be honest, we're not bringing back JPP to be a role player. JPP come back, he's expected to start, and rightfully so. If you bring back Sue is expecting to start. Those guys are not coming back and demanding the salary they want to ride the bench and be a rotational player. It just wouldn't be good business in itself anyway. I think Jason Light really understands that. He let them go and, just kind of see where they can land up, give them the whole summer and the offseason and preseason training camp to see if they can find a team to land it, and neither has landed on the team, and which is alarming because at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure Sue still has something in the tank. Like I say, with JPP, it's the question of injuries, but you'll probably see more after the final cuts, after the preseason, who get called up or but then again, you have a whole influx of players that's going to get cut that has a lot of talent, but they just couldn't make the team. Wasn't enough room on the team. There a lot of players going to get picked up. So it's just a natural transition of guys that's getting up in age. It's nothing against their talent or their production, but you just have so much talent in the younger pool of players that you want to at least give them a shot to kind of grow and develop and be coached up. So with JPP, like I say, they're going to probably be one of those emergency calls. Like last year, we was going through so many injuries. We was calling up everybody, even Richard Sherman was calling them guys. We know they can play, but how quick can you pick up the playbook? Like a guy like Andrew Adams, a guy that we never keep, but we always call back when we need him. A guy like Ross Cocker is going to be one of them guys. We let him go, but I guarantee you, if we get an injury in the defensive back room, Ross Cocker is going to be one of the first players we call back. A guy like Pierre Desir, he did real good for us when we called him up from free agency to fill in those cornerback roles, but we didn't keep him. But let the injury bug happen again with the secondary. Those guys going to get called because they're already familiar with the defense, they're familiar with the playbook, and they can come in and be somewhat productive. We're not asking them to be Carlton Davis, which they can't. We're not asking them to be Jamel Dean or SMB. We just want you to come in and just do your job. That's the whole key. So with JPP, man, for everyone that's out listening, don't feel bad that we didn't bring back JPP. I think it's still a chance. I think it's still out there. But it just had to be something a little more drastic as far as injuries to bring him on back and have him back in the fold. And at the end of the day, if we bring him back, he's going to have to come back as a starter. You don't have JPP or Sue on the bench playing behind a second-year guy. That's not going to happen. The only way that happens is JCS get hurt. If JCS get hurt, then I think JPP comes back. If Akeem Hicks get hurt, Sue's coming back, because you got to have that production right then and there. Like, say, for instance, if it wasn't about Grunt retiring and Break got hurt, then we got to call Grunt. Grunt, where you at? Come on back. But it's a lot to it. It's more than just keeping the same players. It's really giving a chance to these young players to succeed in the system. And I think Carl Nassib would be really good. I hope he comes back to the form he was before he left, giving us those 6 sacks. He didn't have to be a starter. He never was a starter, but he gave us quality minutes. He gave us quality plays, quality snaps, and he was still able to produce. As you can see throughout the preseason, he's going to be one of those players that's going to come in, do his job the best he can, and try to give us what he has. And that's all we can ask for a guy like that. He came in fairly cheap. We didn't give him a lot of money. He's on a 1-year deal. We didn't sign him to multiple years. So it's really just an opportunity for him to re-audition to be one of those players that can get maybe a 2-3 year deal and, have somewhere to be at and have a home for the next couple of years, which I think Tampa Bay will be a great situation because of he is versatile. He can put his hands in the dirt and he can play linebacker. I don't necessarily see Carl Nassib dropping back in coverage or anything like that, but as far as being that first or second down type of rotational guy, I think he's really good. You can also put him in pass rush situations because he do get to the quarterback. It's one of those situations where he real close sometimes, but the pressure is still good because he breaks things up. He makes the quarterback scramble. And sometimes that's all you can ask for. He might not get home, but he can at least break up what's going on in the backfield. And he and even when he was with us the first time, he did a great job of it. So all in all, I'm great. I'm happy that Carl Nassib is back on the team. He's having an opportunity to kind of come back in a system where he did the best in all his career, shine, and add some value to our outside linebacker group, defensive lineman group. They're really all interchangeable. I think he'll work well alongside JTS, just being that rotational player, and just coming in and seeing what he has. So one thing about Carl Nassib, I know he's going to come in and play hard. He puts his head down. He's not really into all the hoorah and all that other crap, but you can depend on him to come in and be healthy, stay healthy off the field, and, come in and do his job. So one thing about Carl, I like Carl, man. Carl Nassib is going to be a good one. So make sure y'all guys like and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this episode, there's more content coming. I appreciate y'all for listening. Stay tuned for more content coming out of the Swords of Cannon podcast. Peace.